morning, everyone. I am Tara, aka Spirit Mother, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel on YouTube, Spirit Teaches Going Within Self, on TikTok, 1974 Enlightened Soul, and I'm also live on my Facebook for those of you who are Facebook friends. If you're new to my channel, I always recommend, and I really encourage people to read the description on my YouTube channel, Spirit Teaches Going Within Self, to get a better understanding of what it is that I bring forward on my channel. Okay, some of you know that it's a variety of things, and I do use a lot of my own experiences. You hear a lot of within the biblical aspects, religions, and what have you. And today I'm talking about the saying of "made in the image of God," and what do people think that "made in the image of God" means? Okay. They spout it off, they preach it, they say it, and what have you, made in the image of God. Well, what exactly is made in the image of God to you? Because made in the image of God, to me, it means that we are like God. We are, so if we are made in the image of God, which represents like God, religious texts may not believe that one way or another, which would make a contradictory. It contradicts itself and it's hypocritical of its own teachings. And so, made in the image of God. Okay. Let's start off by saying we are not perfect. So if we're made in the image of God and we're not perfect, why are we saying that God is perfect? Why are we saying that Christ is perfect? Why are we saying that Jesus is perfect? Is God not actually experiencing itself? So if God is experiencing itself, does that not mean that you are that part of God experiencing itself? You're made in the image of God. I'm made in the image of God. Joe Blow, Nancy Drew, we're all made in that image, the image of God. It can work two ways. It can feel like a program that, you're told that you have to be this way, so it's narrow-minded. And they tell you that you're a sinner, you're not perfect. Well, I guess then that means that the Christ consciousness is the ultimate sin, which represents the systems integrated into society. The ultimate program. The ultimate of a form of matrix. You have two forms of matrix because you have the feminine aspect of the matrix, which more love and vibrance and feeling. And then you have the matrix of the ego, which is more into the ignorance, greed, selfishness, which it's okay to have selfish behaviors if it's not interfering in somebody else's space. See, I'm perfectly imperfect. God, Christ, Spirit, Creator, Source, Universe is all made imperfectly perfect. Even the stuff that you think is made perfect, it has its flaws. It's always a work in progress. And it depends on how you're going to become that work in progress. So as far as like biblical sense, you're saying that nobody's perfect. Well, if you're saying nobody's perfect, then God is not perfect, especially when you look at your biblical text. If it's saying that God is killing, or people are killing in the name of God because God says this is so-and-so's land. Well, God did not specify a land, a system did. A lord, landlord. And all the landlords that I've seen in the world today, Most of them are slumlords because it's this they care about. You're observing it now. You know, if you look, every one of your presidential or primary, like everybody in your, like the leaders of your country, how many of them have a vested interest in real estate? Seriously, stick with that. Honestly, you know, some of them, they want to be as king. Just give me one second. See, the thing is, I'm the queen and the princess and the empress of my own life because God put me in control of myself. Spirit put me in control of myself with its guidance because it's a part of me. The same as it's a part of you. You can't say that you're not in the image of God, creator, source, or what have you, if you're saying that you're not a spirit. Because you're a spirit, you're a soul, you're a physical body. You know, the Trinity. That's what the Trinity is. Mother, father, child. It's not about just a son. Because it wasn't just about having sons, because you have daughters. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Well, the Holy Spirit is both the mother and daughter. I like wearing this because it actually helps to ground me because it's the crystals. And it's of the ground too because it's Virginia creeper. You know, you like to stone someone to death and take a rope of thorn, like a vine of thorns, because, you know, Virginia creeper had thorns. See, Mary Magdalene, she was very much an image of God, but you stoned her. And because she had enjoyed wearing a, a crown, because it represented the opening of the crown chakra. See? Right there. Revelations chapter 5. The seven seals, which represents the seven chakras, seven stars, seven spirits, seven trumpets, seven bowls, seven deacons. And there's a lot more sevens. We are all spirit in a physical body. We're all Christ consciousness in a physical body. You believe how you so desire to believe, but you're limiting your own beliefs. You're limiting yourself because you're going to a system and listening to it that's telling you you are weak and you need our guidance. You need the guidance of somebody who's going to show you and teach you how to tap into your own God power, your own abilities. Because the ones that keep telling you that, you know, you need to go to this place or that place in order to find God, and you need to give money in order to be accepted by God. No, that's a limited belief system. That's a system. That's the ignorance part of it. Because the true spirit doesn't run on monetary value. Your true worth comes from your spirit, what you put out. And a system will keep you feeling on your like on edge all the time, full of anxiety. How am I going to make a payment? How am I going to live? Who am I going to rob? Do I have to rob Peter to pay Paul? There's a God that lives with that runs on greed and ignorance. And there's a God that runs on love and compassion. There is like I heard somebody say understanding. Well, there's an understanding on both sides because greedy and ignorant people understand each other. They speak the same language. People that are of love and compassion, they speak the same language. When the separation happened, it was the division between the masculine and feminine, which put a disruption into the balance, so it began to hate itself. So it wanted to take itself out because it didn't like what it was seeing. It didn't like the vulnerability. And it didn't like the ignorance. It was afraid of love. So ran on hate. I've said before, I've looked in the mirror many times years ago when I was like, I was in a bad way and I was doing some like really like feeling shitty about myself because I was making the decisions. I may have had things happen in my life, but I was the one that kept myself stuck in that same thinking mentality that I was only worth this. And, I had to give up this in order to feel safe. But I was giving up my own essence, my own spirit, my own energy, left feeling like I was imperfect and that's all I was ever going to receive. I'm happy with what I have. And to be honest, sometimes I like when I get frustrated, sometimes I see what's happening in the world and I get so I just want to smash my own stuff. It's that inner ignorance and greed festering inside ourselves, wondering why do we have all this stuff? How is this stuff making us happy? Because that's not what's going to make you happy. You need to make yourself happy, but it comes in here. So if you're struggling with yourself and you're struggling with others, would that not mean that Christ, God, Spirit, Jesus, Yeshua, we're all struggling with our own? That's the true image of God. So you say that Christ was all powerful, Jesus, Yeshua, however you perceive that person to be, that you see in your energy, the creator, what have you. If you say Jesus can do that, Son of God, and Jesus and Yeshua like had put out there that you are made in the image of God, so you are the healer, and you are the you're the lion and the lioness. You're the healer, and you are the aggressor. You are the one that's going to heal yourself, and you are the one that's going to stand up for yourself. So they keep you on your seat waiting for someone to come back. But the thing is, that someone never left, that you believe to be true, because it's always here. The guilt will live there. Right now you're looking and you're seeing two sides of a coin, but you're focused on one. You're either looking at the head of it or you're looking at the ass. See, I'm not here to debate with people. This is how I see it, because a lot of people that want to debate, the reason why they want to debate is because the Bible has good stuff, but you're so locked into that and what they're preaching while they're taking your money. You're paying tax on money that you give to the church or congregations, but they're not paying tax on it themselves. Why? Because they are the tax system. They are the ones that created the tax system. People believe in Zion, Zion, Jehovah, Muhammad, Allah, and the Hindu, which is many gods, and Buddhism, and some say that people worship Satan or the devil or wherever you want to fucking refer to it. Those are words that are making you afraid. 666, it's actually spiritual awakening. It actually symbolizes more of a rebirth, like the death of the limited belief systems. See, we're all being made in the image of God to look at our shadows. See, let's go back to Cain and Abel. The Garden of Eden was Eve, said to be Eve, right? We got kicked out of Eve and put into the land of chaos. Chaos was the father who didn't like his own children because he wanted to be the ultimate ruler, not knowing that, we're all made the same. We just appear physically different. People are saying about how homosexuality is a sin. Is it? Is it really a sin, or is God, the one you refer to as God, ashamed of his own sexuality? Some people didn't like me saying that. Well, let's just show a picture here. They have it in some churches. Oh, shit. And, in the Catholic Church, Christianity, there's a lot of homosexuals, but they'll say it's a sin. I must say. I guess you only use parts of the Bible that works for you, right? Do it yourself, but tell everybody it's a sin. It's taboo. Yeah, it's a sin, but it's your sin. because you integrated the prejudiceness into it because you wanted to hide from what you were actually doing. Everyone see that picture? Okay, can you see that picture? There's what is said to be God. And there is the man. Mainly men in here. Seriously, it's an image of everybody naked with God. So it's like, if you think homosexuality is a sin, you've been fucking programmed. Do I think that people should be going and mutilating their body to change their body? No, I don't. Because it's not the body who makes you who you are. You look back in ancient times, weren't they all wearing fucking dresses and skirts? In Roman times, they were having sex with little boys. And then we wonder why our men are the way they are today. But they're taking it out on women because they've been programmed to believe that women were the demons. How many really know the true story or what, you know, another possible version of Adam and Eve and what happened to Cain and Abel? I'll ask again, was Abel maybe a woman? Was it maybe not Seth and Cain? And maybe there was two sisters. Or maybe there were two sets of twins. A set of female and male twins twice. Train going by, confirmation. But see, in your biblical text, it won't do that. You can't. You have one and the other. I did the research, and it's rare that people don't get pregnant. Women don't get pregnant without being pregnant with twins in the beginning. Sometimes it's like one absorbs the other because it becomes that fight from the beginning of who's going to be superior over the other. Do I believe that Cain was wrongfully accused? Yes, I do. Because when you start seeing different forms of like truth through the mind's eye, through the experience of itself, through your own experiences. My channel's not for everyone. And I didn't say you had to agree with me either. The same as I don't have to agree with your stuff, but we keep fighting over it. because there's more than one possibility. You're just going by a narrative. I believe that the father impregnated the daughter. And maybe Cain got blamed for it. And then the daughter, maybe there was no actual killing. Maybe someone took a leap of faith and ran with the child. Come into a whole other realm through the black hole. What you say will eat everything up. Seriously, did it chew off your pecker yet? Because the womb is the black hole. The womb of the mother. When you're born, you're creating a new universe for yourself. How you create it is entirely up to yourself. But you're told now, see, you look at Uranus, okay? You have Uranus, you have Gaia, and then you have Kronos and you have Rhea. Kronos was eating his kids. Uranus, he didn't want the kids to be born because he didn't want it to be superior over him. Because, like I said, it wasn't about one ruling over the other. The first bloodshed was would be more back when with Gaia and Uranus. You look at those in each version of your text of who they say was the beginning, but you say Adam and Eve were the beginning. In a sense, because it was an atom that created the physical, and Eve, excuse me, confirmation, Eve was the electrical voltage, the spark. So when somebody says made in the image of God, but then tells you that you're not a God, you are a creator, are you not? I watched a young gentleman on here, and somebody had wrote about like our gods, the gods that we believe in are not real. Well, we're real, aren't we? Why are you not believing in yourself? Because when you believe in yourself, that's when you truly realize that you believe in spirit, God, creator, the source. You're the source of your own energy. You pull it from the ether into you. But there'll be people right now sitting in pews listening to somebody spout off about somebody else's religious beliefs or religions going and killing each other in the name of God. I guess it's in the name of yourself, right? Your own selfish greeds. Sometimes I used to go over to the church across the road until I realized the truth. But not there. to bring about the true teachings. Because if they were, when I offered free meditation right after they were on at the pew saying about Jesus was saying about prayer and meditation, but Jesus was saying about meditation, sitting with self to connect directly to God, not praying to somebody, talking, not begging, but working with, learning to understand yourself, learning to understand how your own energy body works. That's the meaning of made in the image of God. You create your own system within and without. How you feel in here is what you see out there. My place, back before I died and come back and had my like ultimate enlightenment, my house was a disaster. My body was a disaster. My body was weak and frail and fragile enough that it could not withstand itself anymore. And my spirit kept trying to leave it. But I had to learn how to heal through spirit. You didn't come here to live on the land or off the land. You came here to learn how to live with the land, meaning living with yourself, so that you could get along and live with one another, all versions of yourself. We run away from ourselves and then say about, why is God doing this to us? Well, why are you doing it to yourself? Because you are, in many ways, doing it to yourself, in the sense that, you're trying to run away from your own fucking problems. And some of the problems that you do have, we continue to blame it on other people because we won't look at our own self. We won't look at our own image. And I seen another thing where a Christian said that Christians don't sin. Bull fucking shit, they don't. Holy shit, man. I don't know how many fucking ones that said that they were Christian and ripped me off and screwed me over. You might see yourself to be a Christian, but you're running on a Christianity of dogmatic system opposed to the actual Christ consciousness. And if you take offense to that, well, that's on you. You're a right-wing conservative that believes that, if you're not the same color, then we don't want you around. Well, how about you leave the fucking planet and go back to the planet you came from? Planet ego. There are people on here fighting about how they enslaved certain cultures or certain ethnic backgrounds or certain colors or what have you. It was done to everyone. No one person or group of people were any better than the other. But that's something that nobody wants to look at. White man was enslaved, black man was enslaved, indigenous were enslaved, European, Scottish, Irish, African. but you came here to get along. You came here to live and cohabitat together. That's what unity is. That's what the balance is. You know, everybody had Black ancestors. Everybody had white ancestors, Caucasian, Asian, but nobody wants to look at their own genealogy to realize that. They just want to point fingers. No, I don't believe I was racist. And whenever I heard somebody say a racist remark, it was like, what? What, did you really fucking say that? Because it's passed from generation to generation. To me, when somebody calls somebody another, like a culture, Nigger, you're a fucking ignorant person. And if you call yourself that, you're fucking ignorant to yourself and your own kind, as you call it. Do you not bleed red? Do you not breathe the same air? Do you not shit the same color? Do you not pee the same? Your color may be different, your language may be different, but you're still in fucking human body. People are fighting over what color Jesus was and everything like that. It's like, seriously? If I'm being honest, everybody came from a different planet at one time. Christ comes to you in your image, your color, your ethnic background. But you'll fight over that instead of what it's actually trying to explain and teach you. See, they're showing images now of Jesus being black. How many knew that like they say Jesus was Jewish? Some say he was Muslim. Some say Christian. Like, fuck. The Jewish community originated from what I understand, Scotland area. The true redheads. You know, they say Lucifer was the devil and he had red hair or orange hair or something. Hair of fire. My sister told me, I like, you're on the devil's side. Seriously, grow the fuck up. I'm on the side of both. It's like picking sides of the mother or the father. It's like kids that, they'll growing up, if they don't get their way one way with one parent, they'll go run into the other, and then it puts the parents against one another. The womb created heaven and earth because the mother took a leap of faith and went through a dark hole, took a leap of faith. You say fallen. Lucifer was a fallen angel. Was Lucifer actually a fallen angel, or did it have a different opinion with the father, and the father didn't like it and told Lucifer that if you left, never to come back? So Lucifer took the leap of faith and the father fucking followed, and so did the brother. Got to be superior, right? Got to turn the feminine evil because you're too afraid to look at your own femininity because you might have some feeling in there. Made in the image of God, we get made in the image of our parents. And then we keep passing it down from generation to generation, whether it's because there's good aspects and there's not so great aspects of each. We're here to learn from each other, not destroy each other. You know, some will say it was Adam and Lilith, and then Adam and Eve. Well, didn't Adam have children with Lilith and have children with Eve? Cain was said to be the child of Adam and Lilith. He had a sister, a twin sister. And same as Abel. Maybe Seth was Abel's twin brother. Four corners of the world. Africa, Asia, America, Europe. Through your genealogy. I know I had European ancestors. Because when they first came here in 1752, they were in Europe. Before that, they were for somewhere else. You know, where did the negative Rh negative blood factor originate from? It's said to be African and European. Better go read your Bible and sit in a pew, because it awfully stinks. That's why they say pew. Not saying that there's not congregations that actually can help somebody, but I've not seen a lot yet. I feel energy. I hear the thoughts within. And if people don't think that I know which people are telepathic themselves and communicate with one another through the mind, but people say, well, that's, you're psychotic. No, you're just fucking delusional into thinking that that's not real. You're in a limited belief system made in the image of God. If God knows all and sees all, you're made in the image of God. Would you not have those abilities too? But you're put in a system that blocks it through frequency. through pain, suffering, anger. People who have a traumatic experience. A lot of them end up becoming enlightened. Some call it an idiot savant. And I can feel the change in the room. It's that part of, bring it. It feels good. Now let me transmute it. Because I know when I get that feeling, it's from one's within a belief system that believes that everything in the Bible is truth. Uh, Charlie Kirks actually said one day, and I put it on here because I did a video about Charlie Kirks. He put it on about that they add things to the Bible. You're fucking right, they add things to the Bible. When you say that prophecies and what have you, it's and you say that they're writing about what God says. Well, they're writing what the spirits say. The muse. I had somebody just yesterday, we were sitting there and we were talking, and then all of a sudden they said something to me and they told me that it was like somebody was sitting beside them, giving them the information. Welcome to enlightenment. Welcome to the truth. Now it's up to you what way you're going to use that ability. See, they tell you if you're hearing voices, well, you have this mental health disorder and that mental health disorder. But I'm here to tell you, you're actually hearing it because you're hearing it on a different realm of frequencies. But what do I know? I know stuff through experience. And everybody experiences things differently in their own way. And we all interpret it differently. But labeling it as a mental disorder is not helping anyone except for a system that is based on greed and ignorance because they are not seeing the truth for themselves. They're living in a dogmatic system that limits their belief system. And those people too, they probably experience stuff. And that's why a lot of them go into mental health because they're trying to understand their own. Bipolar, autism, ADHD, manic depressive, it's all about different frequencies of hearing spirit. You're living in many different realms, planes of existence simultaneously, all at the same time. And if you don't understand what it is that they're experiencing, then how the fuck do you expect to help them? What, give them a pill? Or treat them like they're fucking moron idiots? They're fucking more intelligent than you are. Take that how you perceive it. Your leader that's all over the place, he don't know what he's experiencing. He's too busy listening to everything. You become easily manipulated. I know someone who was easily manipulated because they were still at the mentality of a 14-year-old. They act like an adolescent child, but it's because of lack of understanding. They're all over the place. And adults will take advantage of that. Certain loved ones will take advantage of that. The leader I speak of, their niece is a psychologist, but you still don't fucking understand that? Look at his grown up. Look at him growing up. And the way they grow up, you wonder why the fuck they are the way they are in adult years. You want to help people? Fucking understand them first instead of labeling them. Label, 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 label. Oh, you ain't got enough labels yet. Holy shit, man. You still got some body there that we can put a label on. Am I mocking you? No, I'm not. But you may take it as mocking. I know what mocking is. It's a program that people get put in when they don't understand something that's not in their vocabulary. Not only was my internal world in chaos, but my physical world was too. Sometimes I have a hard time being around certain people because it's like, how do you not understand this? But I was told sometimes you have to speak their language. So to a narcissist, I'm going to speak your language. It's okay for you to insult and treat other people like shit. So I guess, it's okay for me to do it to you. Or if you're trying to explain something and the only way that you can explain it is by relating to their language, like a computer language. An email is like human. You send and receive messages, do you not? It's through frequencies, it's through waves, microwaves. But the microwaves you have in your electronics are disruptive to your soul, your spirit. It's that part of calming it down. Do I get angry? Sometimes, yes, I do. Do I come off as a bitch sometimes? Fucking right, I do. My sister tells me, "Oh, you know it all. You know everything." No, I don't fucking know everything, but I do know what I know. Even told me that I get my own way, and it's like, what? Or I get everything that I want. Well, then I guess I hardly get anything because there's not much that I want. Would I like to have certain things? Yeah, but I don't need them. It's a luxury. I have air to breathe, even if it can be toxic sometimes. I'm still breathing air. But a lot of the time, I will go inward and I will breathe within myself. And you can do that because spirit takes me inward to teach me how I can breathe inside. Breathing my own oxygen. Your blood is producing it, right? Your cells are producing oxygen within you, right? The Matrix, Neo, and Morpheus. Do you think that's air you're breathing? Is it not your body that produces the oxygen to keep it going? It keeps replenishing itself internally. Some people aren't getting that, not understanding what I mean. It's a belief system that suffocates you because you're told that this is bad for you, that's bad for you. You know, they tell you goldenrod is what makes people with allergies, but I found out that it's mostly milkweed around the goldenrod. They're allergic to the milkweed that happens to be around goldenrod because they use goldenrod. You go take your freaking antihistamines. You'll probably find out that goldenrod is part of what they use because it's used as an antihistamine. Don't believe me? That's fine. But I guess you're going to keep yourself in ignorance because you might want to go look it up. Dandelions, they're a weed, but actually dandelions are actually has healing properties. How many of you know that the antihistamines that you take causes Alzheimer's? They tell you not to eat salt. I told somebody that, well, you know, the saline. Saline is salt and water. Well, that's not the same kind of salt. But what kind of fucking salt do you think they're damn well using? Please tell me. Should we be ingesting a lot? No, because table salt is broken down. Celtic salt. Some say don't use Himalayan salt because you know that's made from like a giant flesh. You know, you criticize when you say Nephilims and the dragons and what have you. You're from there. You're from them. You're a descendant of them, but you don't want to look at that, right? And that's not possible. Seriously? Are you sure about that? If you're made in the image of God and God is everything, I guess you got everything, right? Better condemn the Nephilim and not realize that, you know, maybe the humans were the ones that attacked first because they didn't understand. Or, you know, they were all living together at one point. But then division happened because somebody wanted to be in power and control. So they had to turn them on each other when the truth comes out, right? But are you going to listen to the truth? Because some won't even listen to the truth, even if it was staring them right in the face. You said, look at the Portuguese, well, Didn't learn these languages anywhere. You know, it's called enlightenment. Remembering you are all aspects of everything and anything that can be created, and then beyond. Secreto turísimo. Que le tutu prigiana resi katata yesi que tutu yesli gimondai. When nobody else is like you. Good, then that means I'm authentic. Why don't you learn how to be yourself? I'm remembering, and Spirit is guiding me and showing me what the true meaning of made in the image of God is. Can I levitate things right now? No, not that I'm aware of. Maybe I am doing it, and I just don't see it in myself. But maybe they're seeing it in a different plane of existence. But I do see it happening as things happening in my dreams. And I know other people who have had dreams about me. One even told me that they had a dream about me, that they came in my house or they were in my house. And when I walked in the house, everything started levitating, floating in the air. Then they said that me and my two sons were there. And then all of a sudden, the three of us disappeared. And then all of a sudden they said that I was back in the room again, and I was at one end of the room, and then all of a sudden I was right in front of their face. And they said it fucking scared the shit out of me. And then they had a dream that they were floating up, and they ended up sitting on the head on the headboard of their bed. They floated up there. Are you awake yet? Do you not realize what it's telling you? But, you know, someone else's God forbid you say it. Because you're demonic if you do that. You're demonic if you believe in crystals. You're demonic if you believe in telepath or telekinesis. That's demonic. No, you're just ignorant to it. And you're not getting the true message in your biblical text because you have somebody else interpreting it for you and telling you what it's saying. And those are usually the ones that you call scholars that keep manipulating the book because it's got to fit their narrative because they all want to be in control. I'm not here to pick sides because, you know, in spirituality comes from everything. But are you going to remain focused on one part of it, or are you going to expand? The only way you're going to come to the real truth is by talking with one another instead of fucking saying, "No, I'm going to kill you. We're killing you because it's in the name of God." No. It's in the name of ignorance, greed, control, and selfish behavior. Because everybody's got to be like you, right? Got to be a cookie cutter because you got to have someone to rule over. You're not happy unless you do, right? Why don't you learn how to rule over yourself and be in control of yourself instead of wanting to be somebody else's leader? If you're a leader, teach others how to lead themselves. Teach others how to survive. Teach others actual life skills instead of fucking how to kill each other. You got people fighting right now and we're looking for a ceasefire, and they don't trust that it's going to be a ceasefire because, you know, somebody's got to have their fucking dick in their air. Did I say dick? Would you prefer I say pecker? That's not very good language coming from a lady. Well, right now, I ain't the lady. I know what the balance is. Being able to be in the moment where you need to become your masculine self. You need to become your feminine self because you connect together. Leave him alone, you turd fart. Dito pure che ama sai? Dice poi, ishkala suye, kata, pituturi. Am I here scolding you? Well, you're going to take it as you will if you feel it as a scolding. You know, you like going in church and you like being told you're a sinner and you need to repent. Well, it was never repent, it was redeem yourself. It never told you oh, you got to be righteous to get into heaven. Well, then to those ones that say you got to be righteous, I'm going to ask you, when the fuck are you going to start making the right choices? The church, they'll tell you, like that day that I was at church, and he said about prayer and meditation go together. That Jesus was teaching about prayer and meditation. It was conversation with God, conversation with spirit, conversation with yourself, with your own awareness. But when I offered free meditation, no, but we don't believe in that. We don't want that. Then I guess you don't believe in what you preach. And you're pretty fucking hypocritical. And those are the people that Christ was talking about. Ones that preach what they don't believe. We focus on examples. There are many examples, and there are many truths. And you're being led to focus on one. You know, like I said, people who are in the dogma of the religious system and the biblical aspect of everything, you don't have all the pieces put together. Was it being kicked out, or was it learning to see? Because you were only seeing with your two eyes and you weren't seeing with the Cyclops eye. You weren't seeing in the middle. You thought you were seeing what was right in front of you. In a sense, you were seeing what was in front of you. But you weren't seeing from the middle, the full vision.
when it integrates together. Because you both see things, both your masculine and your feminine see it at the same time. That's when you begin to work together. That's when you realize what the image of God actually represents, the balance. Coming back to self. Coming back to your own awareness, to your spirit awareness, internally and externally. On my timer, it's 111. And then my timer, when I looked at it like a couple of minutes ago, it was 11:11. See, people say that God works in numbers, and others say God works in sacred geometry. It's both. Masculine works with one and feminine works with the other. And it's separated from itself, so it needs to learn how to reintegrate. Where it coexists with one another. The Christ, the spirit, and the human body, which is the soul. The brother and sister, and mother and father. The mother and father came at the same time. They say what came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, I mean, when they come at the same time, first off, they had to have the energy to create it. The manifestation. The imagination. The child within. Getting to the kingdom of God is going to be when you find the child within yourself. The children within yourself, both your inner children, that part of your son, your daughter, because you are the mother, father. And until you figure that out and realize it and integrate it, you're going to remain in conflict. So to men who blame women for their life, get over it. To women who blame men, get over it. Because you're doing it to one another. So you're both to blame. No, you don't. This person says, as you walk down the fairway of life, you must smell the roses, for you only get to play one round. No, that's not true. That's a limited belief system. Because you're constantly going through ego deaths and rebirth. Someone didn't like me saying that. Well, oh well. Where the determination is, the way can be found. Que le tocó ahí. If you wait till the wind and the weather are just right, you will never plant anything and never harvest anything. And that's that part of waiting for something to happen, but not taking the signs as they come along to progress you further. You know, you go out and you're in a gust of wind, that wind comes up, and you feel like you're blowing forward. Planting the seed. You have a goal. You can remain in a limited belief system and run on somebody else's beliefs and systems. Or you can navigate and listen to your own self, listen to that part of your spirit that is that part of Christ, of God, of spirit. And whether you believe in God or not, and whether you're an atheist or not, I have to ask you, do you believe in yourself? Yeah, que tú te quien, cierto, pues. Failure is part of success. You learn. Are you going to stop learning? Are you going to give up on yourself? If you fall and no one's around to pick you up, are you going to lay there for days in hopes that somebody's going to come and take your hand and lift you up? Or are you going to figure out how to bring yourself up, how to lift yourself up? You have to put the first foot forward. When you're a child learning how to walk, you have that help, but they have to let go in order for you to be able to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet. There is no such thing as a bed of roses all your life. But failure will never stand in your way of success if you learn from it. And right now, it's like, are we learning from past experiences? And I mean, not just as one, but as a collective. Because we're going into multitudes and multitudes of wars, but they're inner wars or inner conflict because we won't look at our own. We don't look at our own genealogy, and we don't look at our own ancestors of the conflict that they created. Because we're all guilty of a crime. We're all guilty of how do I put it? It's not, I can't say guilty. We've all been the devil and we've all been the saint. And I'll leave it at that. Yeah, right now I'm just sitting with myself because I'm listening to the birds and it's like, yeah. So, you know, You're the one. You have a destiny. You've already created your destiny. When are you going to start moving towards it? Only you know what you want to achieve in life. And it's not about achieving it by conquering or walking over someone else to get there. It's about knowing that you got there because you worked towards it. You did the work. You didn't take credit for somebody else's stuff, because that's just lying to yourself. So with that being said, I'm sending you all much love, light, many blessings, most importantly, very good health to anyone and everyone wanting, willing to receive and accept. Want you all to be big, bold, brave. Most importantly, be yourself, be your authentic self. Be true to yourself, be kind to yourself, be true and kind to others, and know that you have more strength than you can comprehend at times. You can do it. It's just asking yourself, what's holding me back and why am I not taking that leap of faith? What fear factor is in my way? Love you all.